This is the Lakin Chronicles Road to Recovery podcast with addiction recovery specialist Dr. Greg Lakin. Real people, real stories, real addiction, and real recovery journeys. The road to recovery starts now.
So today I have two friends of mine that actually have a great story to tell, and a husband and wife couple no less. Brad and Julie. Brad and Julie decided to come up and tell their story in hopes of helping others, which I greatly admire and takes a lot of courage. But so usually I just start off by asking you, how did addiction first start up in your life? And you both have a different story to tell, of course. And
Sure.
So, do you want to do ladies first, or what?
Sure. Or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. Gosh, I started dabbling with drugs when I was maybe 14 years old. Very experimental. Pretty much tried anything that didn't require a syringe. Did that up until I was probably 18. That's when we got married. We stopped using for probably 3 or 4 years, I would say, and then just fell back into the cycle again. It started off with something as simple as pot and just escalated to pills, escalated to cocaine. That went on for probably 8 years, and then my shining moment was when I got in trouble. I got in trouble with the law, and that kind of scared me straight, I guess. And I went to a place called, decided to go to a place called Life Management. That was about a month after Julie did the same thing. And I went through the steps, went through the program, graduated from the program.
It was outpatient.
It was an outpatient program. Started on, alcohol wasn't really, I drank alcohol, but that wasn't really my vice. But I ended up going to AA instead of NA. It just felt more comfortable.
So you said dabbled at an early age. Was that just out of sheer boredom, or was there something that you think
ran
was
with
missing?
the wrong crowd.
Right, yeah. In a small town, I'm assuming. Right?
No, actually, we were in a big town. We were in North Dallas then.
Oh, well, got it. All right. Where everything's available if you want.
Yeah, pretty much.
Good. And then you already knew each other, of course, early on?
We met in, fourth grade?
Oh, is that right?
Something like
This is
that.
going to be
like
like
that,
a little love story here, too.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
high school sweethearts,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, good. Well, then, Julie, how'd you get involved?
Well, we met at an early age, but then we didn't start hanging out till high school. And when we started dating, I then started, I had already started smoking marijuana, but then
Started doing what
he
I was
introduced
doing.
me
Right, yeah.
so lovingly.
I was the culprit.
He introduced me to a lot of other drugs. I had not done pills yet, though. I hadn't been addicted to opiates really yet, but stopped around the same time. I was 19 when I stopped, and after having a couple of kids, we just, like you said, we just fell back into a cycle. And for me, I think I self-medicated. I had a lot of anxiety.
Right.
A lot of anxiety. And so I think that may have started that, when I noticed, hey, this relaxes me or whatever. But then we stopped. I stopped.
That was 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. And then when I was around 30, I started having a lot more health problems.
Right.
And a doctor gave me pain medicine, and boy, I was hooked very quickly. And it very quickly took more and more. That wasn't over a long period of time. That was really short. So, our lives became very unmanageable at the time, and we just had no idea how to move forward at all. And around the same time he quit is when we both went to the same outpatient program. I had detox at a hospital though, twice. I tried several years before, and it didn't really help. I didn't follow up with the program.
Right.
So it took me a few more years till I detoxed again, and then following up with the 12-step program, I think saved our lives.
Mm-hmm.
It did. It opened our eyes a lot. We learned a lot.
Got a lot of baggage. Got rid of a lot of baggage,
Yeah.
stuff off our shoulders that we've been carrying, whether it was, just offenses that we had caused towards other people.
Right.
While we
Or
were
to each
using,
other.
we were able to, forgive ourselves of that, and that made it easier to move on.
Right.
And that makes, there's a lot of good points you made just in that. One was earlier on there was an anxiety component, and you realized that you were self-treating for that. Drugs of choice during that time were
Marijuana.
marijuana. Got it.
Mostly marijuana.
And then the opioids were in part for pain, but also you noticed that.
Oh, very quickly.
Yeah.
I got addicted very quickly because I started noticing within probably 3 weeks or so that I was requiring more and more. And then it was, I had to have it to manage my life. I'd take some so I could vacuum and clean the house, or, I thought I was managing my life with my kids.
Just to be able to get up and function, you felt like you had to have that feeling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but throughout all this, you guys stayed married, you stayed together. That's relatively uncommon. Usually when both sides or both people become addicted in a partnership, oftentimes they don't stay together.
It was very difficult.
Yeah.
And at times we weren't sure
Right.
which way we were going with our marriage because of just how out of control we had both become.
And you both made the decision at the same time, which
Just
doesn't happen as often.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful.
Yeah, I'd heard that's.
And was there like a sentinel event that really triggered, like when you decided for each one of you, maybe it was something different, like I'm serious now, or this is the time, or maybe you'd been in treatment before a time or two, but this time just resonated and hit home.
Well, I think Julie figured it out probably a month before I did. And she started in that program. Mine was because I got in trouble. And I think I probably would have kept using longer. It could have destroyed our marriage. There's a lot of ifs that fortunately didn't take place because I was basically scared straight because I didn't want to, ruin the rest of my life, that I was still fairly young and didn't want to do that. So there was only one option, and that was to try to get off the pills and stop taking marijuana. And I even stopped drinking as well. So just cut everything out.
Right. Now, you both illustrate the point that, marijuana,
Yeah.
Why do we suddenly think it's okay for people to smoke marijuana so they can cause, you are after the effect. It's not like you have social drinking, you don't have social marijuana smoking. You literally are attempting to get a buzz.
Right. It's a gateway drug.
There's no doubt. Yeah.
It opened up for both of us.
Yeah.
Everything else.
I functioned for 10 years smoking pot and managing restaurants, and did a very good job at managing restaurants. It wasn't the pot so much, it was that it opened the door. It affected me, certainly, but it opened the door for doing other things that affected me a lot worse.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, and when you spend so much time not being sober, you don't spend the time going through, you kind of shy away from decisions you have to make, or, when people need you, your kids need you. And so when you're spending all that time not being present, with that person, it really starts to affect
It affects finances.
the relationship,
It affects your kids.
Yeah.
Right. And you saw that. Your love for your kids made you say, hey, it's time to get
Well, and also off and on, we would have moments where it's like, hey, we've got to stop this.
We would have moments of clarity.
Or one time I remember specifically what drove me to doing detox the first time was, Brad said, hey, even though he was having his own struggle, he said, you're not being a mom.
Mhm.
You're not, this
Yeah.
can't continue. They need you. And
Right.
of course they needed him too, but that was my first attempt of, oh my gosh, what am I doing?
Right.
She was the stay-at-home mom. I was working,
Mm-hmm.
and she was medicating while she was a stay-at-home mom. So that was kind of the first time that it was kind of like a wake-up call.
And I see that quite a bit too, where for one partner can maybe handle it or manage it for a while, and doesn't understand why the other one can't at all.
I think that fits our relationship.
During that time.
I handled it a lot better, I think, than Julie might have, but it was still affecting me. I mean, there's still no doubt.
Well, you
about
weren't in
it.
the environment with kids all day. When
No, right.
your job needs you, but your kids,
Right.
Oh yeah.
your kids need you so much.
I had an escape, I guess, to go to
Right.
work,
Yeah.
whereas
But you probably knew Julie couldn't kick it completely if you could.
Right.
You know what I mean? You had to do it too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, good. Well, no, this is wonderful. You were able to, and now haven't touched any opioid for how long? Either of you? It's been a while.
A decade or more.
Yeah.
More than a decade.
And what is life on the other side? I mean, there's no rat race. There's
I mean,
still have life issues, and
You do,
sure,
you
the
do,
family
yeah.
goes on. But
life
at
is
least-
hard, and
Yeah.
you have to keep
You're better
Moving
prepared
forward.
and better equipped to deal with
Right.
it when you're
Right.
sober. That's all there
Right.
is to it.
being able to think through problems that you have or issues that come up with clarity.
And
More
financial
clarity.
decisions, not having to say, okay, well, am I going to have enough to get
Yeah. Oh yeah.
to get my fix and
Yeah.
still be able to pay the electric bill?
Mhm. Yeah. Unfortunately, that is what our mindset
That's what
was.
it comes down to.
Oh,
That's what
yeah.
it was for
And a lot of times it
a
was
long time.
it was the fix that came first.
because you don't want to be sick.
Right.
Yeah. And when your tolerance was, how high was your tolerance? What did you have to have, pain pill wise, just to get through the day?
I was just talking to someone about this the other day, and it was pretty considerate. It got a pretty large amount. I remember at times taking 12 Norco at a time.
Yeah.
I mean, it got way up there.
That's a street value, let's say $5 to $10 a pill.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
It's expensive. The problem was that doctors back then would just prescribe.
Right.
Well, and I have health issues.
And she
so
has
Right.
reason
it took
to-
me for a while. I had to be accountable. I had to have someone go with me to the doctor actually
Mhm.
and keep me accountable because I have chronic pain and it would take, just one sentence to the doctor and they would prescribe because
Mhm.
there are people,
Right.
that are in need of pain management. But I had to keep myself.
You really
I
didn't
was
need
scared
as
to
much
death
pain
of-
management as you
Right.
really.
Yeah.
She was over managing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Over managing. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was scared of what that might look like before I got sober. I thought, am I just going to live in pain the rest of my life?
Well, it was easier for
Right.
you because of that. You had things the doctor can hang his hat on, diagnosis-wise. You had different diagnoses. It's like, oh, well, you probably, there's no test that shows whether you're truly in pain or not.
Right.
We'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
tolerance.
especially
happens,
back then when the
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a
the
lot of
opioid
issues.
rules were much
They
different.
were.
More
Yeah.
lax, yeah.
Yeah. Nowadays, can you imagine with fentanyl out there? You don't know where it's going to show.
Mhm.
In
That's-
pressed pills.
It's scary.
That's
Yeah.
scary, actually. It actually makes me think, wow, like if we continued.
Right.
Ugh.
I've had
Yeah.
several overdose deaths, and they actually thought, well, I'm not doing heroin. I'm not doing.
Not just on pot.
Yeah. No, just on
Yeah,
pot. Yeah.
laced.
It's in everything. It's in
Laced,
everything. And you don't know. Even you think you're taking a prescription, Oxy 30. It looks like, but it's a pressed pill, and
Well,
bam, you're dead.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, I have a sister I had an older brother that passed away, was a extreme alcoholic
Mhm.
and used cocaine and other things and enlarged his heart and passed away. And I have a sister who just recently passed away and she was using heroin.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
just got her.
Yep.
It'll get you. And
But then you think,
Hmm.
wow, if I could have
I
just
know.
known or
We didn't
reached
know.
back?
We didn't
Everybody
know.
says that. Yeah. Didn't you lose somebody as well?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
Of course, we were married well, so
Yeah.
I went through the same.
Yeah,
Same
you
shoe
dealt with the trauma of losing somebody over addiction.
Yeah.
It's really painful.
Right. And so, what would you say to people that what it's like on the other side? You know, I don't know. Is there something that they say we only reach maybe 20% of the people that actually need treatment get treatment, and then many of the others just kind of languish out there, feel they can't do it, maybe don't have hope, maybe don't want to yet, you know, or they're like your sister who, you know, they're just gonna
Right.
do it till they die.
I would say, first off, it's not as scary as you think.
Mhm.
You know, there are people that are out there to support and care and teach you and not judge. It's just, you know, the scariest part is that first step.
Putting that
And-
first foot forward
Yeah.
is the absolute hardest thing. It's knowing that, hey, I'm never going to be able to feel like this. I'm never going to enjoy this anymore because, I mean, let's face it, doing drugs is enjoyable.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, you get that euphoria,
You get that
but
euphoria,
eventually,
and you have
you
to
start
know
losing that.
Yeah.
that you're never going to have that again. But it's okay. Once you get sober, you have the euphoria.
Much higher. I mean,
Yeah.
you're able to feel and enjoy life
Mhm.
so much more than when you're not sober.
Because you're shutting off so many feelings when you're
Right.
addicted and you're
Yeah.
high.
And doing stuff you normally would never do, even
Right.
when you're not high, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So the big thing I think I would say is just, you know, get help. It's that first step is really scary, but there are people there that know and they've gone through it and, you know, have support and professionals that can walk you through it.
Well, it's interesting because although you did this together and you've conquered addiction together and you remained together, you actually didn't really wait for him. You went and just did it yourself.
Yeah. I couldn't
Yeah.
handle it.
Yeah.
He had said something several years before and that stuck in my mind.
Mhm.
My kids need me.
Yeah.
And as much time as they lost, they got me back. You know,
Absolutely.
I got
Yeah, and our relationships
became-
are great with our kids now.
Mhm.
mom again.
Good.
Yeah.
Still trying. You got teenagers, don't you?
Yeah, still got one teenager.
Yeah. Don't wish
Yeah,
that
we're
on
working on
anybody,
it.
but yeah. All right. Well, you know, thank you both for coming and sharing your story. I mean, it's
You're welcome.
truly an act of selflessness when you come and tell your story, and it does take a lot of courage. But the only reason why we do this is just, you know, to help others, and oftentimes a story like yours resonates with somebody else,
I hope
Sure.
so.
you know. And so, thank you
I
both
hope
again.
so.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Dr. Lakin is a board-certified family medicine doctor with an emphasis in addiction medicine and over 25 years of experience. For addiction recovery services in the Wichita area, please visit www.centerforchangeks.com or visit samhsa.gov for a national directory of resources and recovery centers in your area. You can also find these links in the podcast description. Thank you for listening to the Lakin Chronicles Road to Recovery podcast. And remember, you've got this.